lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. And sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. And sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
You may be seated. Well, good afternoon again. I'm Omar Brownell, Director of OU's Center for Multicultural Initiatives. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. is world-renowned for his dream of equality and interracial understanding, and for the amazing achievements he made toward that dream. Oakland University is strongly committed to honoring and encouraging a culturally diverse student body. We are dedicated to engaging all students in the attainment of academic excellence and social success. And for 19 years, we have recognized students who have demonstrated strong leadership in breaking down cultural stereotypes and promoting interracial understanding by presenting them with the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award. Recipients of this award are strongly committed to advancing the goals that Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. envisioned. We are pleased to be able to honor such incredible young people. Thanks to the committed support of the surrounding community and our corporate sponsors, we have provided Oakland University students with scholarships, and we are helping to prepare a new generation of exceptional leaders. These extraordinary students have already made a positive impact in many areas of this community and on our campus. You will have a chance to hear more about their successes later in the program. To honor our award recipients and our partners, we have an exciting program in place today. Let us begin by welcoming Dr. Gary Russey, President of Oakland University, to the podium.
Omar, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Intelligence plus character. That is the true goal of education." Today, we honor those words by encouraging not only high academic standards among our students, but also leadership, compassion, and integrity. I'm very pleased to be here today and be a small part of this celebration in which we recognize 4 remarkable individuals, 4 Oakland University students who showed significant initiative and dedication to promoting Dr. King's dream while achieving great success in their own lives. In addition to the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award, our 4 students today will receive a certificate of special recognition from Congressman Gary C. Peters, in acknowledgement of their commitment to promoting diversity and social justice in our community. And in their everyday actions, these remarkable students have opened their hearts and their minds to make this world a better place. I would now like to acknowledge the sponsors of the Keeper of the Dream Awards. Even in these very difficult economic times, they have provided support for our students. Thank you to our named scholarship sponsors, Barnes & Nobles of Oakland University, Beaumont Hospitals, Johnson Lang LaSalle Americas, Inc., the Oakland University Alumni Association. Also, we show appreciation for the Dream sponsor, Cooley Law School. We thank and honor the Unity sponsor, the Oakland University branch of the MSU Federal Credit Union. We also wish to acknowledge the support of Dykema Gossett. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing those who have supported these outstanding students.
Thank you, Dr. Russi. We will now move on to the Scholarship Awards presentation. I am privileged to present with Dr. Russi, Oakland University's 2011 Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award to 4 deserving students. Emily Tissett, Barnes & Noble at Oakland University Keeper of the Dream Award. Emily is pursuing a dual bachelor's degree in Spanish language and literature and anthropology at Oakland University. She chose this educational track to teach and make a positive impact on the understanding of culture and ethnicity. Emily has a long-term goal of living overseas and working in public health in impoverished countries. She believes that by integrating her passion, goals, and desires for interracial understanding, she can positively impact and improve lives at Oakland University, the surrounding region, and eventually globally. She is a leader or a member of numerous campus organizations and also organized and participated in many cultural development projects overseas. Emily has taught language skills as well as health skills in Mexico, Peru, and the Dominican Republic. In addition, she is a member of Oakland University's Honors College and a recipient of the Alumni Association's Honors College Award. Emily has proven to be a leader who challenges her classmates to break down stereotypes and move forward toward cultural understanding. Now, here's Emily explaining what this award means to her.
Receiving the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship is like hearing, "Good job, you've come a long way," which is then quickly followed by, "So what's next?" It's been an encouragement to continue doing the work that I love and feel is so important. My Nana, Mary Bell Tissett, she's in the audience today, so I'd like to take a moment and brag about her. She's one of the most faithful, humble, and beautiful women that I know. She has lived through some of the toughest situations and has maintained her gentle and kind spirit. She's compassionate and loyal, and in addition to all of this, her gentle spirit and quick wit are a lethal combination, and I love her. Everything that Dr. King fought for is relevant today. As people, we will always be fighting to overcome something. We will be tested and work against disease and discrimination, hate and hurt. But when these times come, we can be confident that Dr. King would have said this: "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith develops perseverance." He celebrated when life got hard, and he had faith that we are made better by our struggles. Becoming liaison to the Board of Trustees has been one of the most rewarding experiences at OU because it has allowed me to speak for the OU student body. I have worked for the Center of Multicultural Initiatives, Housing, Disability Support Services, and Gear Up. I've been involved with the Honors College, anthropology and Spanish clubs, and so many more. It is the variation and culmination of these experiences that has taught me how to be flexible, enjoy others, and always laugh, even when things are hard. Barnes & Noble, thank you so much. You're encouraging the next generation of Martin Luther King Jr.'s, and I guarantee that this will definitely be the best investment you make this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present Emily Tissick with the Barnes & Nobles at Oakland University Keeper of the Dream Award. Congratulations, Emily. Seaman Son, Oakland University Alumni Association Keeper of the Dream Award. Seaman believes that in order to promote interracial understanding, each culture and race must step beyond its comfort zone and embrace the world around them. A biology major at OU, Seaman is originally from the Republic of Korea. He immigrated to the U.S. with his family during high school and says he struggled to find his way in a sea of students unwilling to accept a minority. He made himself a promise to change that when he came to OU. Seaman has been very involved in organizations, including volunteering as a disability support services peer consultant and an academic skills center tutor. According to the center's director, his non-judgmental demeanor and eagerness to help fellow students quickly boosts their confidence and helps them to be successful. Others say that Seaman has a great gift of making other people feel welcome and appreciated, whether in the community or here on Oakland University's campus. Now, here's Seaman explaining what this award means to him.
The Keeper of the Dream Scholarship means a great deal to me because a prestigious committee has validated my beliefs and my efforts. I'm honored by this award. My connections through the disability support services have provided me with an opportunity to become a role model for autistic students. I have helped to create equal opportunities for students. My first American friend, Mark, played a significant role in helping me get where I am today. When I immigrated here from South Korea, I was a high school freshman and was having a difficult time assimilating to the American way of life. For the first 2 years, I had no friends, and then Mark became my friend. He mentored me academically and socially. I could have never become who I am today if he had not inspired me. Dr. King's dream is still relevant today. Promoting equality was Dr. King's vision, passion, and faith. Even though his mission has not been completely fulfilled, society definitely has made progress. My most rewarding experience at OU is my role as a supplemental instructor for chemistry. In this role, I assist students who are currently taking difficult chemistry courses. It is very rewarding when students thank me for helping them. By working with them, I learn and improve along with them. It has been an honor and a privilege to receive this prestigious award. The financial assistance provided by the Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award is deeply appreciated. Thank you, Oakland University Alumni Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present Seaman Son with the Oakland University Alumni Association Keeper of the Dream Award. Rodrina Moore, Jones Lang LaSalle Americas Incorporated, Keeper of the Dream Award. Rodrina Moore believes that by being open-minded, raising awareness, and further educating herself and others on racial differences, she can make a difference in the world. One of the ways she has done so is by becoming president and advisor of the Oakland University Apartment Association. Rodrina, who is pursuing a degree in business administration, is also highly involved in the Red Cow organization, standing for Revive, Experience, Dream, Change Our World. As president of the organization, she dedicates her time to assisting individuals both on and off the OU campus through volunteerism. Rodrina has worked to make OU an inclusive campus and has been involved in sustainable initiatives on campus, including recycling and fundraising. In an effort to improve social justice and equality, she organized a Haiti relief effort and a white ribbon campaign to raise awareness of violence against women. Both events were hugely successful. As a student leader, Rodrina has definitely made a positive impact on our campus community and in the lives of OU students. Now here's Rodrina explaining what this award means to her.
I believe that there is a time and season for everything. The Keeper of the Dream Award reinforces my journey through higher education. It leads me to believe that this is my time and it was the right decision to continue my education. Claude Huddleston has played a major role in my journey here at Oakland University. He gave me my first job as an office assistant in the university student apartment office. He assisted me through difficult times and helped to mold me into the leader I am today. The growth that I have experienced under his wing has been amazing, and I have grown tremendously. Dr. King said, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." I believe Dr. King's vision, passion, and faith continue to be relevant today. I do not think that his vision has been totally fulfilled, and there is still a lot of work to do. Being an apartment community assistant has given me the opportunity to work in an environment that fosters a safe, diverse, and academic community where students from every walk of life can live. I have been granted the chance to build lasting personal relationships with many people from various backgrounds. Words cannot express how grateful I am to receive this honor. With my deepest gratitude, I would like to say thank you to Jones Lang LaSalle Americas Incorporated for their generosity. I promise to continue to strive towards diversity and equality in this community.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present Rodrina Moore with the Jones Lang LaSalle Americas Incorporated Keeper of the Dream Award. Congratulations, Rodrina. Ayanna Scott, Beaumont Hospital's Keeper of the Dream Award. Colleagues and fellow students see Ayanna Scott as a visionary leader and someone of whom OU can be very proud. She is known for her compassionate heart and the high values she places on helping others. She is president of Students Toward Understanding Disabilities, or STUD, an organization created to inform and educate the OU community about issues that impact the lives of people who have disabilities. Within the group, Ayanna created the OU Stud Buddy Program, designed to help students with disabilities transition to OU and increase the likelihood of them making it to graduation. In addition, Ayanna volunteers with the Oakland University Center for Autism Research, Education, and Support, OU Cares, including participating in Autism Family Fun Day. She was an Oakland University volunteer for the National Make a Difference Day, which included beautification projects, assembling a playscape, and organizing book collections for children in the Detroit public schools. A psychology major, Ayanna is an excellent example of a student who is very involved on campus and reaches out to those in OU community and beyond who need assistance. Now here's Ayanna explaining what this award means to her.
Winning the Keeper of a Dream Award means that I am doing right by my community and that someone has noticed my efforts. In addition, the scholarship will allow me to focus more on my academics and passions at Oakland University. As president of Students Towards Understanding Disabilities, people get to know me, the person, beyond my race, gender, and disability. I have served as a role model in breaking down stereotypes. I have shown that people like myself are capable of achieving academic and social success at OU. God is my ultimate role model, and everyone who has mentored me, including my parents, has used God as their foundation. He is the standard whom I follow, and the reminder that if I walk in love, everything else will fall into place. Dr. King's vision, passion, and faith are still relevant today because there are still racial boundaries that exist today. Most people do not realize the prejudice that has been ingrained in them. While a lot of progress has been made, there is still much to do. My most rewarding experience here at OU was creating a mentoring program for students with disabilities to help them become more acclimated with university life. We provide a family atmosphere where everyone is supported and understands the daily struggles of being disabled here at OU. OU is very diverse, with people from every cultural background and economic status. Because I'm involved in a variety of different organizations, I'm able to meet many different people. This has broadened my cultural awareness tremendously. I have taken that knowledge and applied it to my everyday encounters. Thank you, Beaumont Hospitals, for this tremendous opportunity. This scholarship will allow me to continue to pursue Dr. King's dreams as well as my academic goals. I am honored and humbled.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present Ayanna Scott with the Beaumont Hospital's Keeper of the Dream Award. Congratulations again, Ayanna. Congratulations to our scholarship recipients. They are exceptional in their accomplishments, commitment, and motivation, and clearly deserving of this recognition. Congratulations again. I am now very pleased to introduce our keynote speaker. Louis Gossett Jr. is an activist, producer, director, and actor with wins in the Academy Awards, Emmys, and Golden Globes. He made his acting debut at 17 while still in high school, earning a Donaldson Award for Best Newcomer for his work in the Broadway production of Take a Giant Step. His film career began in 1961, reprising his stage role in A Raisin in the Sun. Since then, he has appeared in scores of films, including Travels with My Aunt and An Officer and a Gentleman. for which he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, a Golden Globe Award, and an NAACP Image Award. His television work has included The Roots miniseries, Fiddler, which earned him an Emmy Award. Gossett is an alumnus of the Boys and Girls Club of America and has supported and worked with the organization for many years. A national spokesperson for CARE, Gossett worked throughout the mid-1990s to raise social awareness and help end hunger and poverty among children. He is also founder of the Eracism Foundation, which focuses on eradicating racism and social ignorance while promoting tolerance and cultural awareness with children. Recently, Gossett received a National Organization of Black-Owned Broadcasters Pioneer in Entertainment Award, a Community Advocates Award from St. Vincent de Paul Council of Los Angeles, and the American Legacy Men of Honor and Distinction Awards from Legacy Magazine. He also has received Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Palm Beach International Film Festival and the 14th Annual African American Marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Louis Gossett Jr. to the podium.
Thank you so much. What an introduction. I was wondering who he was talking about. Thank you for having me here, sir, Dean, all you gentlemen from the VIPs from this wonderful university. You honorees, congratulations. You're ahead now, so you keep that going. Friends all across, bald-headed men. So raise your head, bald-headed men. It's a really great pleasure to be here. I'm on a tour, and then the tour is really never over. You know, it's a kind of a necessity at this age. I've been a professional actor now for it'll be 60 years this year, and I want to thank Barnes & Noble for having my book in the shop. It's called An Actor and a Gentleman, and it came to a time when I had so much in my heart and on my mind, I couldn't think clearly about today, so I had to empty it out. Some of it was painful, some of it was funny and happy, and I'll tell you some of those stories. And finally, when I got it all out, there was this big, empty, wonderful space that I could fill maybe, I'd like to think, with God's light and new thoughts. And out of it came why I'm on this planet and the reasons why I exist. And as a result of filling that up with what I thought was necessary, I have transitioned from somebody who had high blood pressure and cancer and on the way out to somebody who does not have cancer. Because it seemed to be a domino principle because of my thoughts and my actions seemed to add to that. And finally, I got it, and I kind of said, hello. And I started thinking a different way and behaving a different way and using God, I heard him mentioned up here before, if either God is or he is not. Either he is all or he is not. You can call him Allah, you can call him Buddha, it doesn't matter. Are they all or they're not? And if that is our blueprint for my life, maybe it's my age or whatever it is, but I'd like to recommend to young people to start soon, knowing that you are not bulletproof. And there is a blueprint that precedes all of us, upon which you have to devote your life. I'm the first generation born in the North. And some of you can identify. I didn't know it was that sad. I was the first born generation in the North up in Brooklyn, New York. Thank you. Yeah, it's still there, too. And what the system was, some of you can remember this maybe, is the people who were the youngest ones, my mother and my father, they met up in New York, and we came up, and I was born, and it was right after the Depression, and then some night I got a successful job. My mother was the greatest housekeeper maid in the history of Brooklyn. I mean, she got letters of recommendation from the board of directors, from the borough president. She was in demand. And so she was so tired, she'd come home and devote her entire life. You remember the times with the artists and the craftsmen? When you had those cars or whatever they did? You could eat off the tables, and you could polish the cars and the woodwork and all that. I come from those particular people. I know you can identify. Those particular people that the young people say, you come from back in the day. But something from back in the day, sometimes we forget. Because we are in these universities and we get these A's and stuff, and we get this money, we forget. So the one who made sure that I did not forget was my great-grandmama. She lived on my shoulder, and the neighborhood started being the firstborn generation. Hope you don't mind my speaking like this rather than being up there and speaking, you know. I'd rather just, if I don't know it now, I never will. To just speak like you're in my living room or I'm in yours. And so the neighborhood started during the Exodus, probably how Detroit started too, and St. Louis and Washington, D.C., with the Exodus up north to the promised land, quote unquote, where I was 10 blocks away from every cousin that I had, aunts and uncles, so that the best times in the year was Thanksgiving and Christmas, Easter, New Year's Eve, and birthdays. And I remember there were really no such thing as homeless people, especially when it got cold, because all the children was in my grandmother's house or my great-grandmother's house, and the bedroom went from room to room to room. Same thing on Thanksgiving. Nobody was hungry. The dinner table went from 3 or 4 different rooms, and everybody sat and had something to eat. Then we had hand-me-downs, so there was some clean clothes. We had a bathtub. And I don't remember too much people out there doing wrong. If they were doing wrong, we all knew them by their first names. I remember those neighborhoods, on top of which being fortunate to come from those neighborhoods, which we took care of one another very seriously. That was before integration, so we had to. But on the other side, they were taking care of themselves too. We took special care of one another. So when I came home, I came from a neighborhood. I was fortunate to be raised not so much in a black neighborhood, but in a diverse neighborhood. There's Coney Island. That's where the amusement parks were. All manhood would come from Coney Island and go into the amusement park. So I grew up with a diverse bunch of people. So if my parents didn't get home in time, I had the choice of lasagna, gefilte fish, corned beef and cabbage, menudo, fried chicken, depending on who was home. You know, and I was taken care of. So and then before the cell phone, there were the elderly ladies in the window. I remember those days. So I would look, and me and my friends would look over our shoulders and do something bad, and there was always somebody. I'm going to tell your mama. That's when the neighborhood was like that. All the neighborhoods were like that. So my neighborhood was very fortunate. Sometimes poverty brings good fortune because we get to survive a little bit better. And the toys that we used were cut-off broomstick handles for bats. One skate, the front would be the part of one scooter, and the back would be the back of the other. We'd have a box, and that was my Cadillac. I'm sorry. And then we'd have broken tennis rackets and all kinds of things that represented a pride, and we took very good care of them. We had games like stickball, take a ball and throw up against the wall and hit it. We had games like Wing Alivio, it's like a sophisticated tag, and hide and go seek, and the girls had hopscotch and potsy, and we played in the streets, and we had our children, and we took care of our homework and our newspapers and our pets, and we knew each other. And a couple of months ago, that alumni, New York alumni in Hollywood, gave me a night. And it was a really nice night. Started with my best friend and my hero, Sidney Poitier, who surprised me on the video and talked about me. And then there's Ben Vereen and LeVar from Roots, and it went on all night long. And what a diverse bunch of people who can identify with this upbringing. To make a long story short, from that time, in Brooklyn and some places, we grew up together. I was the president of the junior high school, and I was the president of the high school, and the captain of the basketball team, and all that, and a pretty good scholar. But the people that grew up during that time were people that you know, the Barbra Streisands. And before that was the Arthur Millers, and the Neil Sedakers, and the Neil Diamonds, and the Herbie Alperts, and some of the people, Jackie Robinson moved in there, Don Newcomb. We all kind of rubbed elbows with one another, and there was not much racism. There come no race riots, but if you had a fist, you know, and you go across Nostrand Avenue with the wrong color jacket on, there was a little bit of unrest. Today, of course, it's blah, 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 blah. That's not really acceptable, and didn't go too far. I had a cousin from the Bedford-Stuyvesant area of Brooklyn. This must be before I was acting. I'm in 1947, 48. And I loved the jacket he wore. It was white and silver, and it said El Quintos on it. And a little diddy-bop hat. I wore it because he forgot his jacket. And if you know New York, there was a BMT that started in Coney Island. You go to Prospect Park, and you take the shuttle from Prospect Park to Fulton Street, and you go downstairs and you walk the 4 blocks to Nostrand Avenue. So I went downstairs, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by people with black satin jackets and black diddy-bob hats called the El Diablos. And it's in my book. And somebody said, "Get out of the way." Now, there's a thing called a zip gun. A zip gun is a piece of wood using ingenuity with thick rubber on the back with a 22 slug with a pipe. And you put that, and you pull that thick rubber back, and you let the rubber go and go, tap, one shot. This man got out the way, and he went like this, and the rubber band broke. It's not in the Guinness Book of Records, but that 4 blocks, I did that 4 blocks in 2:10. Until I saw somebody who had the same jacket I had on. But God was in store for that, and I got to talk to that man about that. I swear, you know who that man was? Floyd Patterson. It was before he went to the Whitwick School of Boys. Him and his brother went to Sing Sing. But when somebody does this to you, and you see them in that face, you will not forget. So I told Floyd, and we cried for a bit, and he said, "Man, that would have messed up 2 lives, wouldn't it?" So I miss him terribly, but he's a great man. But there was my grandfather, who was so well dressed with a Homburg hat, and he come from the South, and he had his sons. One went to MacArthur in the Army, and the other one went to Patton in the Army. I was very proud of them. Great athletes back in the day, very smart, and very just like their father, dressed to the teeth. And on the other side was my great-grandmother, the part Cherokee part, and her mother married a Seminole. And that Seminole, make a great motion picture. This Seminole Indian went to get his wife, crossed the Florida border. Because of love, he made himself a slave, got her, and escaped with her back to Florida. Now, if that's not a movie, I'm not going to put Clint Eastwood in that one, man. So I'm kind of slowly coming to my point, aren't I? But my great-grandmama was irresponsible for all those children. Sometimes there was 15, 16, 17 of us. According to the Bible, which was started after the slaves were freed, it started after the slaves were freed. Her birth was not recorded in the Bible. And she lived long enough to see me on Broadway and take a giant step. So by crude arithmetic, she had to be 111, 110. Never couldn't spell the word doctor or a hospital. But when somebody got sick, she went out to the backyard and got something. If I had the whooping cough, she'd put it in the oven and put this smelling thing on my chest. And I thought I was going to have 2 days off from school, and I was at school the next morning. And she would put things around my neck for a set of feathers, I think it was called. And some the woman said, yes, yes, yes. It's like bubblehead dolls in here. And she would take care of us by the hand. She would wash us by hand. There was a wood-burning coal stove, and she'd make these biscuits. I'll never get the cornbread and biscuits and the fried chicken I remember that, me and my cousins. That is the foundation that I remember. Not just my family, but that neighborhood. There was a foundation that I think we might have forgotten today. Our children don't know it because what we had then was a great radio and those Saturday and Sunday afternoon serials and the movies. So I remember the Green Hornet and Batman and Robin and all that. And my friends allowed me to be Batman and Robin and Superman. And they said, you can be Superman on Sunday. And I took my mother's bath towel and put it around my neck and jumped off the front stoop. And that's why I got this gap in my teeth today. So sometimes you believe something, you be foolish, but that's how I got it. But my great-grandmama, she's my guardian angel. And I now realize when I did Take a Giant Step, and I was the big hit still in high school, and I got the Robert Hall clothes and the Tom McCann shoes, and boy, those shoes hurt. They really hurt, but that's where I had my Tom McCann shoes on, and Robert Hall clothes, and I had a girl on each arm. You know, my grandmama said, and she hurt a finger. Obviously, when that plantation knew that they was free, and a stagecoach, a wagon full of slaves came in and ran over her finger. So she had half a finger. That was the most powerful finger I've ever seen in my life, that half finger. And she'd say, Junior, come here. She said, let me tell you something. She said, God was here before you got here. God is going to be here while you're here. And she's going to be here long after you're gone. So you better calm on down and let him run things. And the only time I ever got in trouble when I forget what she said is true. The combination of that family and that's society. I remember one day she was the mother of the First Baptist Church of Sheepshead Bay, which was right next door. And she was sitting in the kitchen, well over 80 years old by the time, with her two friends, two deaconesses from the church. And one of the deaconesses said, you know what? And she was serious, too. She said, I think I'm getting a little senile. She said, I went to get something out of the refrigerator, and I stood there for 5 minutes before I could remember what I wanted to get out of the refrigerator. I don't know what's going on. So the second one, he said, I know what you mean. I was standing in the doorway of my closet for about 10 minutes before I could remember what I was doing standing in there. And my proud great-grandmother stopped. She said, you should be ashamed of yourselves. No matter how old and senile you're getting, I'm at least 5 years older than both of you. And thank God. Who is it? I'm like that today. I just knew I was going to Oakland, California. So now here I am, coached and nurtured to belong and rub elbows with people of all kinds at the age of 16 on Broadway doing Take a Giant Step and rubbing elbows with some of the best people that ever took care of me. In retrospect, the Paul Robesons and the Lena Horns and the Josephine Bakers and the Mayor LaGuardia and O'Dwyer and the FDRs and Eleanor Roosevelt and Walter White, who charged the NAACP. All of those people came back to see this new kid on Broadway. I didn't really realize at the time how much blessings and hugs I was getting from these people, but something about my spirit realized that I should aspire, because I've been encouraged to be anything I wanted to be in 1953 in America. That's rare. Now, of course, baseball had just started with Jackie Robinson. He was catching a little hell because he couldn't speak. But I could speak. I could behave, and I was encouraged to go and do the classics. So I did Shakespeare, and I did Chekhov, and I worked with David Susskind, and he took me and put me in all the stuff that I had no idea what this classics were. They taught me well. We went on to NYU, and I taught myself about the Prince of Morocco and Macbeth, And I mean, that's thin air for someone like me. But they kept pulling me and pulling me. And then I learned about the jazz musicians. And so I was doing pretty good, pretty well-rounded, very well-educated. I met some of the African people at the United Nations. I did meet Mr. Mandela and a man by the name of Tom Mboya and Bethune and the first president of Tanzania, Mr. Julius Nyerere, and Jomo Kenyatta. I met them at the United Nations as young men, and I rubbed elbows with them. And of course, the people from A Raisin in the Sun. But at the time, they had a portfolio and instructions not to go to Harlem. But that's it's like Richard Pryor said. They told me, no, I could not wait to go to Harlem. And yet we wound up rubbing elbows. And my first film was not A Raisin in the Sun. Before that, I was fortunate enough to go to Kenya and Tanzania to do a movie called The Bush Baby. It was like 3 years after Broadway. And here I am in Africa. The head of the country was Jomo Kenyatta. Great big poster of Jomo in his ceremonial robes and his wife. And here I am, and I just finished it was the first year of national television in Kenya and Tanzania. National television, that means they saw, first of all, they saw Milton Berle. They saw I Love Lucy. They also saw, Judd for Defense, and they saw a thing called The Nurses. And I'd done all of those stuff, those David Susskind films and stuff. And I did a thing called The Nurses. And The Nurses was about these nurses, suit nurses, taking care of all the stuff in the emergency ward. And I played this juvenile delinquent who had been shot in the stomach. And I was a ne'er-do-well and very angry, and she tried to calm me down, and at the end, I couldn't calm down, and I died of the wound, and that was that. So, now here it is 3 months later, and Kenya's got this national television, and they get off the airplane, and people are looking at me. And the word is out. So by the time I get to the Nairobi Hilton, there's a crowd outside. And a young student comes up and says, excuse me, Mr. Gossett. He didn't want to touch me. He said, we must know something. I said, what? Could you open up your shirt? I said, wait a minute. I knew about African culture. I didn't know about open. What do you want me to? So I opened up my shirt. They said in Spanish, they didn't know how I survived that wound. This is the first national television. Now I'm the hero of the street, right? And I got all these free meals. Some of them were a little hot, boy. They have a thing over there called pili pili, but it looks like parsley. Believe me, it's not parsley. And so here we are on the bush, and we're doing my first movie, and I have a shot where I have to have a fight with a pygmy. And it couldn't, so this director, who was one of these actor studio directors, who wanted it to be real, said he found a real pygmy. And the pygmies were very famous at the time for what do they call it? They're taking the horns from animals, poachers. So a pygmy about this big has a bow and arrow about that big, and he has this area about this big. They bring an elephant down to his knees and kick the ivory off and walk away, like kind of ants, but they're expert, right? So here it is, this pygmy standing there like this. And there's the director. There's a man who translates from English to Swahili, and then from Swahili to the pygmy language. Then his answer, back to from the pygmy language to Swahili, and from Swahili to English. The director says, all right, here's the show, here's the story. And the story is that Mr. Gossett, that's him, is going to come in the woods, and he sees you, and you go and get your bow and arrow because you got a bounty on him. You're going to shoot, and he sees you first, and he's going to run and knock that bow and arrow out of your hand. Then you're going to come up with a knife, and you're going to wrap you around 3 times, and you're going to drop the knife. You're going to run scurrying off in the bush. So the man who's speaking Swahili says, okay. You Come and sit in one that ya. But you got out, but you can't. Get you know, go boing into my nana. And get you know what you did, you can't go to the mashana. So now the guy's going from Swahili to he said, you want me to tell him that? He said, yeah. Go to what they got that one. Go on, you can go to Polly. You know, you can shop, Yamanana, coin, what, go to Banner, you come on, and the pygmy said, He said, what did he say? He said, no way. Because you see, the pygmy did not know what a movie was. All he was talking about is, you mean to tell me that man there is going to beat me up, and I'm not going to do nothing about it? That's all he kept smiling at me. You know, kind of like, I remember Joe Frazier was looking at Muhammad Ali that way, so I said, I'm in trouble. The director said, Mr. Gossett, you're an athlete, so what I'm going to do is when I say go, I'm going to take the bow and arrow and put it over there, and the knife over there, and I'm sure that you can go and knock that bow and arrow out. So he said, go. Before I could reach my hand up, that bow and arrow was in my face like that. And it was about a 5-second, I'm going to die kind of thing. And then finally went, I said, go ahead, no. So it took me about 2 hours to convince him that this is make-believe. So you'll see that fight scene with me and that Zulu. But I also got a message from the tribes of Kenya and Tanzania and a part of Ghana and Nigeria about something I didn't know. There's a fellowship and a thing of culture that tore my heart, made my heart feel good about where I might have come from. They had no idea of what their language was. They knew a little bit of Swahili, but they sure looked like my uncles. They looked like my brothers and my cousins. And the sound sounded like the corner of the neighborhood I came up with. And they welcomed me and taught me what they did and how they took care of one another, how the children were taken care of. It wasn't whether it was your child or not, every child was taken care of. It reminded me of my place in Brooklyn where all of us kind of took care of everybody. And I started to get some kind of assumption that maybe this is the key globally for us. When things get tough, people seem to get together and we take care of one another. Well, ladies and gentlemen, things are tough today. They're wonderful. It's the best country in the world. And because we feel this way, we have the liberty to say, let's make it better. But that generational connection has been broken. I have to say that from where I come from in show business, the business of show, I'm not part of the business of show. I'm part of the art of acting. That's how I was taught. And I will remain an artist as long as I stay on this planet. And I'm here to prove that art of acting, when successful, will last longer than the business of show. Our kids are not taught that on these screens anymore. There's one game I saw where these kids are playing it. If you kill 15 people, you go to the next level. And it's making a fortune. There's got to be something wrong with that because it has to do with the pursuit of the dollar, the pursuit of the power, and the dream that Dr. King talked about is the conflict of somebody thinking that they're better than someone else. It has happened for generations, not just in America, but around this world now. So it has to be a dream, and it was Dr. King's dream. But before Dr. King, there was the Declaration of Independence. It might not have meant to us, but it sure does today. When it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by certain inalienable rights, and among those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. I was so ignorant, I used to think it was a man by the name of Richard Stans. until I learned better. But to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for who? Now, if we say that every day, we kind of have to live that. If we pray our Father and say that, we have to live that. So there's a gap today between those credos that we learn. I learned mine from my great-grandmother and principals of my school and my teachers who saw fit to teach me properly and take care of me. I remember that, and it was deep enough in me so that when I had the first abject racism, which came in Hollywood, California in 1968 when I came to do the first movie of the week, they were proud to send me to California. Lou Wasserman, who owned Universal, and my agent, William Morris Agency. It's in the first chapter of the book. It's called The Bubble Burst. And they cut me in first class at TWA Airlines. You remember TWA? And they used to cut the meats and be the Yorkshire pudding. And boy, that was good stuff. I got off in a limousine in 1968, y'all. Limousine came to the plane and put me in the limousine. Put my favorite music and took me to the Beverly Hills Hotel and put me in a presidential suite, a bungalow. And I had to call Mama. You know what they're doing to me? Whoa! She was so proud. I took pictures of it with my little brownie. And I was in seventh heaven. They said, you even have a rental car. And a rental car is a budget rent-a-car on Crescent Heights and Sunset. Anybody know Los Angeles? Between the Beverly Hills Hotel, Crescent Heights and Sunset is maybe a 35-minute drive. So I got in the car. It was a white Fairlane Galaxy 500. Hardtop went down, red interior, and white. And the hit, my man said, oh, Lord, you see what's coming. So I turned on Sam Cooke, and here I go down Sunset Boulevard. It took me 4.5 hours because I got to know intimately every policeman on that route. Every one of them looked like Rod Steiger in Heat of the Night. They looked at me with such incredulity. I thought I was doing something natural. They couldn't figure out what they couldn't get the words. Get out the car. They looked in the car. Who are you? I said, my name is Lou. What you doing? Just put the top up. So I kind of did it. I got back to the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I told them, the guys, let me explain to you something. They are relatives of the people that come from the South, from Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and they build the munitions plants for in the war, and this is their relatives, and that's all they know. Makes sense. Now, but it didn't feel good then. Now I understand. That's who the blue collars were. Like L.A. Confidential. Remember that movie? Same thing. But then again, I kind of forgot it, and I had some nice dinner, and I had the map of the movie stars' homes. And they said, oh, Clark Gable's right around the corner. That's where he lived. So I went out, looked at Clark Gable's house, and walked up the street. Oh, that's where Henry Fonda used to live there. Next thing you know, here they come again. This time they wanted me to get really to know intimately the trees of Beverly Hills. So in order to do that, they handcuffed me to the tree for about 3 hours to teach me that you can't walk after 9 o'clock in Beverly Hills. Now, I'm ready to go back to New York now where everything is cool. And I got back to the hotel, and my father said, you stay right there. I'm coming to get you. Now, he's in Coney Island. Now, how's he going to get to Beverly Hills? So finally, the hotel manager says, well, okay, you're all washed up. And the first thing in the morning, I called the William Morris Agency, and I called it. And they said, what are you going to do? And I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to work. That's what we want you to do. So that was my, what's the man's name who started Jackie Robinson? That's why they sent me out there. I didn't know that's why they sent me out there, to be Jackie Robinson. So I showed up. Took me an hour to get in this thing because the guard, he didn't believe that I was here starring in the first movie of the week. I started in the first movie of the week called Companions in Nightmare with Gig Young, Donna Winter, Ann Baxter, Leslie Nielsen, Donna Winter, Melvin Douglas, and me. First one. Got nominated for an Emmy. Most of those people from New York were directors and producers. And then life started. I got through that, and I've been going back and forth from time to time, succeeding and failing and succeeding mostly, and trying to find I've won every major award there is in show business. Last night they had the Golden Globes. I got 3 of those. I didn't say that for that, but thank you. I got an Oscar. I got 3 or 4 Emmys and People's Choices. And you sit there sometimes. I still got to go to work. How come I never got $1 million for none of those movies? How come I got to work so hard and I have to ignore my children? And a resentment comes up. And I talk to other people who get resentment, the late Diana Sands and James Baldwin. We have a right, remember those days? I was one of them. And it felt good to protest and have black power and all of that. It felt good for a while. Today, I realize some reality here. And Dr. King helped me do that, and so did Dr. Mandela. There is no such thing to your young people, whatever color you are, as impossible. You're here to break the envelope. In order to do that, your bottom line has to be upon whose shoulders you stand. Your memory of the greats that started and opened some doors for you. And you must know them. If you don't get them in school, seek them out. For the oldest, we have a responsibility of mentoring, whether we went to school or not, and caring for each and every one of these children, whether they're ours or not. Back in the day has a value to each and every one of us. If we are African American today, it is our responsibility to produce a 3-dimensional, full-blooded, responsible American. I think with the word forgiveness, although we have a great right to be angry, that's self-destructive. It'll kill us before we know it. So our job is God's job. And I learned this from Dr. Mandela. If anybody has a right to be upset about what has happened, it was that man. And I met him 3 months after he came out, and he's talking about, what's up, y'all? He completely neutralized what was about to happen to him. Dr. King helped me a great deal. I met Dr. King backstage when I was doing a play called Golden Boy. And he came with Dr. Young and his sons and his wife. What humility. And I learned something there, that no matter how big we think we get, how much money we may have, how many cars, how much power, there's always one deity, one thing that's stronger, that we do, by gentle suggestion, have to pay attention to. We may call him Allah, may call him Buddha, Krishna, call him Jesus, call him God. But it behooves us to ask his advice on how we should do our day. It has been proven that when we do that, things never fail. And I'm not a minister, but I know the difference between when I did and when I did not. It's in my book. And when my great-grandma said that, it resonates today. She's like that old woman in the window. She once said to me, and maybe you're going to identify with the switch. She said, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Anybody identify with that? I thought so. It hurt me real bad, and I never see no tears come out of her eyes. Plus, she never went to school, but I didn't know nothing about those syllables. She'd go, how, man, me, times, do, I. And I knew the sentence was going to be long. Oh, Grandma, shut up. I remember that lady. I remember her daughters. I remember y'all. If you're still here, God bless you, because from you come some such wonderful spiritual growth. If it was not for you, we would not be here. You women are to be worshipped and what you do. I know you still do that. And you gentlemen who are still home, you gentlemen who are still responsible for your children, thank you. Now our children are being born, and you know how when they just get here, they got to copy something. And it's not on television, our history. None on the screen are histories. That's why I spoke up. Now, kind of a persona non grata back in Hollywood. Otherwise, I'd have been at the Golden Globes last night. But they don't represent us properly yet. So I need to go across this country and speak directly to you. I'm in line now with the NAACP, the national chapter, and the 500 black men, and the YWCA, all who agree that that screen is so incredibly important to what our children think. It's called Marshall McLuhan's The Medium is the Message. And it's not possible, forgive me, your Caucasian friends, but every series cannot have a Caucasian lead in it. That's not our country anymore. We got to put them in a Cuisinart and come out, and whoever is there. Because Dr. King said, it's the content of our character. For African American people, we have a responsibility to prepare ourselves to accept the responsibility of being full dimension Americans, whether they like it or not. We have a responsibility to teach our children how to be responsible. And in my foundation, I teach these kids at 7, 8, and 9, I hope, to have self-respect, like the old days, respect for the elders and the knowledge of their culture, respect of the opposite sex, their dress code, their conduct in public, their physical fitness, their spirituality, all that my great-grandmother taught me. So now if you turn out to be exceptional, you want to add yourself to the American melting pot, you're a lady and a gentleman to begin with. Now when you get this information, and you know the people who don't have this, who've fallen from grace, because they didn't have this foundation. It's not that they weren't talented, or that they're exceptional, but they didn't have this foundation. So you can teach these kids, but if they don't have that foundation, that grandma, grandpa, that happens in our family, of all of us, then it's a crapshoot. Hopefully I can get all these children to practice how to live without racism at 7, 8, 9, and 10. And practice exercises and things, not these video games. How to do it, because it's not there. How to live among one another, and that's the way I was raised, because I know it works. And then they have a thing called each one, teach one. So when you're 10, your responsibility is to teach to 7. And when you're 15, your responsibility is to teach anything younger. When you're 18, it's your responsibility, and that responsibility continues for the rest of your life, teaching the ones who don't know how we should live together. Now, let's fade out and have Congress there. Do you think somebody's going to keep you from having proper medicine if you were raised properly? See, there's some issues, I think, that shouldn't be in Congress. It should be automatic that everybody in this country should be able to go to a doctor when they're sick. There should be a law that every human being in this merit, the greatest country in the world, should be able to have shelter, clothing, food, education, and love. Bottom line, right? This is the best country in the world. It's still the best country in the world, but those should be accepted. Anybody who puts on the uniform and goes around the world to fight us, when he comes home, we have to say thank you and take care of his life. It used to be like that, and somewhere along the line there's been the disease called go for the gold. We can go for the gold, but we can't do it at the risk of losing this bottom line American soul that helped me get to where I am. So by gentle suggestion, you young folks, reach back and ask Grandma and Grandpa how they were. We're not ready to go to pasture yet, maybe tomorrow, but not today. I speak like that on a daily basis. I really enjoy this country I live in. We've made enormous progress, but when we're so close to it, we don't realize it. But it's amazing what we've done in this country. We can now talk about it. Before we couldn't even talk about it. It's on the ESPN and CNN every day. So we're really making it. Now we can speak without fear of losing their jobs. But I spoke before that. I had a friend, and I'll be finished soon, right? He said, no, give me another hour, huh? All right. My friend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we kind of grew up together in New York. And we emceed a show which depicted the reunion of the first black tank battalion, the 761st Regiment Armory, and the Jews that they rescued in World War II. Now, fade out, fade in, it's a history lesson I don't think many of you know, that the great Mary Mcleod Bethune, how many people know who that is? Mary Mcleod Bethune, this brilliant woman, her best friend was Eleanor Roosevelt. And Eleanor asked Mary, what can I do? And she gave a couple of reasons. All the black leaders came to the White House to meet FDR, and he met them, and he was impressed. And then the next thing she said is, FDR, Franklin, you need to take those black soldiers and make sure that they have weapons so they can help this country. Otherwise, we're going to lose the war. So they trained the 761st Regiment Armory and 3 or 4 others, and they made Eisenhower put these men in the war. And Eisenhower didn't quite like it. He said, all right, I want to give them to Patton. Patton had the guns, you know, and he liked his Chemley and his Cutty Sark, and he was a brilliant man. So he said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to teach these boys a lesson. The Field Marshal Rommel had the British cornered in North Africa. This is true, y'all. And the British were getting to be ready to be annihilated by Field Marshal Rommel. And they sent for the 761st to see what they could do. So they went to North Africa, and they radioed the Tuskegee Airmen, average age of 18 and 19 years old, to help them solve this problem. The Tuskegee Airmen flew low enough to figure out what Field Marshal Rommel was doing. The tanks annihilated Field Marshal Rommel's tanks, and he left and went back to Berlin, and the British were free. Now, they took the 761st Regiment Armory into Europe on the road toward Berlin. Well, I want to teach them a lesson, put them up against the Panzers. Put them up against the Panzer Division, the best tank battalion in history. And they went 20 miles, and there was Panzers on each side, and they ran out of gas. They radioed back home for some more gas. 75 tankers full of gasoline, bumper to bumper, 100 miles an hour. 63 of them made it. They refueled the tanks, and they cut a swash, and they broke down 3 walls. First wall was Buchenwald. The second wall was Auschwitz. The third wall was Dachau. Now, my friend George C. Scott came in proud of having played Patton, and he said, what's this? We told him, and George C. Scott took his Oscar, and they gave it back to the Academy, because that movie did not properly represent history. And that is one of thousands of stories that have never been properly depicted in Hollywood. So I'm kind of gently, I'm hugged and handshaked, but you don't see me in any of these major movies because I guess I'm going to speak about history. We have a history that needs to be told. These young folks need it. It's not for danger. It's for our self-respect. And so our neighborhoods, which now are people are shooting one another, if I was y'all, I wouldn't go there neither. But if we show you in the neighborhoods that we are here to clean our neighborhoods up and be the grandmas and the windows to make these kids put those guns down and clean those neighborhoods up and make them safe and put them back in school and make it safe for people to come and watch our movies and eat in our restaurants, I bet you everybody will be back there if we make it safe. If these kids be safe, I bet you they'd be in the schools and working. So that's our side of the responsibility. How does that happen? We old folks have to be important and put them in a place called the Shamba Center, which I have, and teach them how to behave. It's our responsibility whether they're our children or not. Now, some 27 years ago, I was with Jesse Jackson and Steve Allen and all those people. 27 years ago, the children in the major cities of America, about 1 million or so, were hungry and homeless, and we had to do something about it. And there was somebody that I saw on television. May I? And yeah, I have to ask permission, but I got one of those kids from St. Louis, and I know personally that I highly recommend that you do that. I took somebody off the streets when he was 6. He's now 33, and my best friend, and my chef, is my son. Yeah. I have another one home who is my real son. He's 6'6". He eats me out of house and home. But I have 2 great sons, 2 great sons. I'm totally blessed. and great-grandchildren. And they think Pawpaw is the best, and I think they're the best. So by gentle suggestion, y'all, there's nothing no more important than the mentoring of these children, whether they're ours or not. That's number one on my agenda, and by gentle suggestion, it should be number one on yours, so that by the time they get to this gentleman's universities, they're really ready to learn. Otherwise, they're going to be hip-hopping and shooting, and you're going to wonder why. But it is my judgment that we need to go in that direction. God's going to make it happen anyway for us to be better, whether we like it or not. So we may as well, as my great-grandmother say, calm down. Let him handle things. All the time, he will win. He is sending us messages today in our volcanoes and our tsunamis and our weather, trying to pat us on the shoulder. So maybe we should pay attention. That's what I have to say to y'all. I'll say it again at another university in a couple of days. But bottom line, let's take better care of ourselves and one another and make this country the country that Dr. King dreamed about. We are already in the promised land. Let us go further and know how to live there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gossett. You may be seated. Thank you. We do have a few moments for a Q&A. If you notice, there were note cards and pencils on your chairs. We have some assistants. If you can pass those to the aisles, we'll have a few minutes for questions.
Nobody any questions?
We have a few questions. Here they come. Recently, Winston Marsalis was shown on 60 Minutes playing music with the Cubans. He displayed that we are all in this together, black, white, yellow, and brown, this thing called life. Thank you. How do we let the world know we are in this art together?
Well, first of all, we got to talk to the microphone people. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Well, he's right, you know. You're going to see more on television. You're going to see more, as you see in newspapers, of all of us going in that direction. There's more sensitivity about Haiti and Darfur, which is obvious. There's more about Katrina. You're going to see us leaning in that direction anyway. We realize, and some of the young hip-hoppers realize they got 9 cars and 20 buses and $200 million, and they're not happy. So they're kind of bouncing back to us. When I mean us, those athletes and people from back in the day, those Dr. J's and Rick Mahorn I'm going to see tonight, and they're going to lean and find out, what did they not learn? The prisons across America is full of children who don't know why they're there, who were not taught those basics that I was lucky enough to teach. We've got to bring it back. But there's enough of us to show another way of living so that we can be reputable American citizens. This country can't do without us. We need to do this together. Any more?
How did your role as a father shape your consciousness of generational responsibility?
Well, my role as a father is obvious. As you have to find out how to take care of your babies. You do the best you can. I have two great sons and 2 great grandchildren. More than 2 great grandchildren. But this son here, gives me like 4 or 5 of them. But that's for two different marriages. So I got about 7 or 8. And Christmas, we were in this restaurant, and there's a whole pile of kids, and I was on the bottom. That's what it's about. They love them some pawpaw, and I love them. So there's a separation. What I do is one thing. Who I am is another. And that's more important. What they can get out of it is extremely important.
What is the best way to mentor a young man?
The best way to mentor it, whatever information you got, get in his face, ask him what he needs, tell him you love him, and try and show him if he's bothered by it, just be a little consistent because he's testing you. There's some bad ones out there, but most of them are not. They want to know if you're going to be around tomorrow, you know, and so it's your responsibility. There's nothing more important than this next generation. Take the time, and you'll be rewarded.
Who is the greatest actor or director you've ever
Sidney
worked
Poitier.
with? Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier. That's an artist. He's a great man.
I guess the question is about your foundation. It's about what is racism?
It's called racism. Found in, since I suffered from what I thought, and it was, no matter whether it's true or not, I've suffered not getting enough money, not having enough time with my family, not getting the parts that I thought I would get, like my white counterparts, my Paul Newmans and Marlon Brando, and it was eating me up. So what it is if there might be racism on one side, but I don't have to suffer that. God is telling me that I have to concentrate on something else to make myself feel better. My concentration is in making sure this next generation don't do the same thing. And to free them for their thoughts and their ambitions. So there's no such thing as impossible. So I've been to about 7 or 8 universities, about 20 high schools, and the reception is pretty good to the young folks. Nobody told them. Nobody took the time to tell them that they are okay and there's no such thing as impossible. Currently, there's no such thing as possible, young man. No such thing. We've broken the envelope of the 100-yard dash. We've broken it in rebounds, in football and baseball. And it's your turn to break it again, whatever it is. There's no such thing. And say it again and again and again and sit back and watch the miracle.
Question, how can a black man stay focused when it seems like everyone is out to get him?
It depends on what his foundation is and what his motives are. You should ask that to Dr. King and those people, how he stayed focused. That's where I learned from. I learned it from Dr. Mandela. Boy, he had to stay focused in order to come out of there with that smile. There had to be something stronger. And my grandma had to stay focused. She had it hard, but she never let me know anything about it. My parents never let me know anything about it. And so we have to stay focused. And the only power that's stronger than human power is his. And if we hook on to him, then fear is replaced by faith. And faith is the vitamin. Faith. With faith, no such thing is impossible.
Are you about to star in another movie, or are you doing any acting right now?
I'm doing this mostly, but I've got a couple of movies coming out called faith-based movies. One you can get at Walmart. It's called The Least Among Us, faith-based. The one big one I did was World War Left Behind. Another one's coming out the next month called The Grace Card. Play on words. And then the next one is coming out. It's called The Lamp. Basically the same stuff. Those movies are coming out, same message. One line in the play in The Lamp that I remember is sometimes we take our eyes off what is the truth because everybody's doing it, and we focus on something that is a lie. There's lies on television, there's lies in the media, and all of a sudden we watch it every day, and that lie becomes the truth. And then that replaces what is the truth, and we live our entire lives based on our lie. And we finally find out that that's a lie. It's really difficult to change then. But the only way to change is to have faith that we have to go on, and we have to stop teaching that lie to our children. Any more?
I'm gonna give you that one there. What words of encouragement do you have for teens and struggling mothers in today's time?
No such thing as impossible. Just keep it up. It's time for y'all to have some lunch, ain't it? Where's the barbecue?
What is your definition of faith?
Well, faith, barefoot on hot coals, faith that God is in charge. That's especially when things look bad. And when things look good, it's easy to have faith, but when things look bad, that's when you get your biceps. This one here says, "Will you marry me?" Who?
I don't know.
Who wrote that? I figured you said We're close. But you guys kind of get the point. We need to honor one another. We just need to honor one another by their character. Some people with great character in this front row. We need to honor one another and get on with it. And these universities are very important, so that we learn how to honor one another and get on with this beautiful country. We're on the brink of something pretty nice here in this country, and then let the world see that. Our backyard will be cleaner, and I think we'll get a different kind of response. I'm finished, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Gossett. Your inspiring words have made this truly a memorable day for all of us. On behalf of the students, faculty, and staff of Oakland University, we are deeply grateful for your time here with us today. We truly appreciate it, and I truly appreciate the time that I've had to spend with you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for supporting Oakland University's Keeper of the Dream Scholarship Award celebration through your presence today, your scholarship gifts, and all that you do to share the dream and continue the journey that Dr. King began. It has been an honor for me to be part of this ever-growing legacy. Before I close, I have a couple of announcements that I would like to make. Today, we kick off Oakland University's African American Celebration 2011, a month-long series of special events and activities to recognize the cultural and historical contributions of African Americans. We would like to invite every one of you to the opening reception in the Pioneer Food Court at 1 p.m., down in the lower level. You can find a calendar of the month's events in your program book. Please join us for a couple of our signature events, the Taste of Africa Gala, as well as our 70s party on the 17th of February. Please join us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for coming. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day to you.